Aqua gang, and my beautiful Aqua Soul family. What it do, you guys? It's your girl, Empress 777 here today with a general message. This one is a little bit different, y'all. I have to be honest, okay? A little bit of a disclaimer. It's going to be in reference to money blocks, is what they're saying. Okay, so I'm guided to do messages in reference to people who have felt stagnation in your career, your money. Things have been slowing down, or they're just not going fast enough, right? There's a little bit of confusion there. There's a little bit of self-doubt there. There's also a little bit of imposter syndrome up in the air, baby. Okay, it's not as easy breezy the energy today. Okay, it's not as light and airy. It does feel a little bit heavy, a little bit overwhelming, but we'll get through it. Okay, I'm definitely going to be sending all of you who are going to be resonating with this message love and light. Holy angels and spirit guides, please come through. Give us additionally what else we need to know in regards to this money message, this career message, finance message, growth message. It really is all encompassing. It's not really about like one thing is what they're saying. Okay. They all intertwine. So who you are as a person, what it is that you love, what it is that your heart desires, your goals, your frequency level, your energy, okay, the things that you are trying to acquire, both emotionally, physically, and monetarily, they all intertwine. It's not like one without the other. So something is out of balance is what they're saying. They are working behind the scenes to help things come into balance, but you might not be seeing exactly what it is that they're trying to do. And that's where some of the self-doubt is coming in. Okay. So that's just like an overall, like an overview, but we're going to get a little bit deeper. But first, please click the like button, guys, as well as the subscribe button. Okay. Love to have you. All right. Okay. This is going to be a general message. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Use your intuition to gauge the messages that are here for you today. They are definitely telling me that the messages that are here for you, if you resonate with whatever portion, will speak very loudly to you. It will be extremely noticeable, and it won't be something that you will have to question. You will absolutely know what parts are for you and what parts are not for you. Okay, so it's going to be your responsibility to, like I said, use your intuition and then leave the rest on the table if it's not for you. Okay, it's for Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Happy birthday, guys. I know the message is kind of heavy, even though it's about finances. Finances are important, right? Like, you need money to survive, and sometimes the money doesn't do it though, right? Like, even if you accomplish gaining the money, then there could be something else off emotionally. Something is missing. So that's really where they're guiding us in this message. But again, I'm sorry. Happy birthday to those of you who are celebrating today. And those of you who have already celebrated, happy belated. Y'all know mine has passed already as well. It's still our season, baby. Okay, we're closely coming to the end of our season this year. Okay, so turn the fuck up and happy birthday to those of you who will be celebrating in the next coming days. Okay, so let's start with the first card out. Okay, we do have a pre-shuffle today, of course, as you can tell. First house. This is how I knew it was deeper than just like money. It's deeper than just a career or what you're doing to gain finances. Okay, so the specific outline of this reading is a message for stagnancy and money blocks. Okay, so like I said, it's for those of you who feel like shit is not moving fast enough or shit is not moving at all. There's definitely a heavy energy, okay, for someone specifically who has been working, but you haven't been really seeing the fruits of your labor. That could be like not getting promoted, overlooked for a promotion. That could be like a business that is not really flourishing, or a business that once was flourishing and now appears to be dwindling, right? There's an overwhelming energy. There's anxiety there. You are in a transitional period. And the reason I say that is because we have the first house along with your story, or your life story hasn't unfolded yet. So things are going to be shifting and changing, right? Now, how easy this is will be according to your adaptability, your flexibility. Being a fixed sign, that's not necessarily the easiest for us, right? Changes, things not really making sense, but changing is like a no-go. Okay, it is like, it's sort of like we want to know the next step. If something is going to change, we kind of want to know the details of all of the changes, but life is not like that all the time. Okay, so they're also giving me the energy of someone who is not only questioning themselves, but you feel like you need to work harder. So you're taking overtime, or you're doing certain things. You may be doing other people's work. You may be, you know, overdoing it in the business, on the business side, to try to make up for whatever losses that you may feel like you have taken financially. And what they're saying is that's not really the route. Rest is important. When you rest and you do something that has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in your situation, financially and career-wise, guys, this is really what it is focusing on, okay? There's a great deal of fear here about things not taking off, or things kind of seeming as though they are falling apart. It is in your time or period of rest that they are able to help you on the subconscious level. Okay. The reason I say that is because we have first house and Neptune here. Okay. First house is about what you can consciously see, what you see materially, what you see going on the outside, what you can see with your very own eyes. And Neptune is really about faith, right? It is about spirituality. It is about you believing in something that you can't necessarily see, right? In the 3D, that could be your ancestors, your spirit guides that's having faith, your manifestations. When you manifest, you have to kind of believe that you can have those things, number one. And you also have to believe that they already exist. So you have to actually act as if those things already happened, those things already appeared. And that could come off a little bit delulu to people from the outside. Now, me bringing up people from the outside, it is not lost upon me, because for some of you, there's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise going on around you. If you have been, they're saying if you have been confiding in certain people, if you have been talking about your plans, if you happen to have been, you know, really ramping up that manifestational side of yourself, scripting, you know what I mean, doing rituals, stuff of that nature, really trying to bring spirituality into the room, right, in reference to growing your financial wealth. If you shared that, I feel like somebody kind of rained on your parade is what they're saying, even if subconsciously. And then this is all about requiring adjustments, okay? So there are some adjustments going on externally, like in the conscious realm, as well as the subconscious realm. So your life may look very differently in the next 6 months than it does right now. And that could evoke a little bit of fear. You could be changing paths. You could be changing your career. You could be changing what you do for money. For some of you, it doesn't require you to fully walk away from something in order to have something. But for some of you, it does. Okay. I definitely feel like this is complex. This is a lot more complex than what I am used to financial messages kind of unpacking. It just feels deeper. It feels high stakes, if you will. So it feels like a lot is at stake. You could feel very overwhelmed. You could be feeling extremely emotional about the state of your finances based on possibly maybe you attach your status or your worth to what you're able to accomplish for your family, right? Because it all intertwines, guys, right? So the end game doesn't necessarily have to do with money, but money is required to get to that goal, if that makes sense. So there's something here about attaching like your worth, your identity, your status, like who you are as a person, or what you're able to do for yourself and what you're able to do for the people that you are responsible for. So you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. They're calling it unnecessary, but I don't want to trivialize, right, what is going on here. You get to decide what's a lot for you and what's not. That's subjective, okay? But they are saying unnecessary stress because it feels like whatever you're worrying about, it doesn't necessarily help you. Okay, it's not solution-based. The thought processes, the things that you're thinking about, the ways in which you are thinking are not really solution-based. And for some of you, you may feel a block in your creativity or in your problem solving. Okay, if there is a problem. For some of you, it's not a problem. There is not a problem. However, your ego is creeping into the room And even if things are going well, it's like worrying about something that might never happen. Like all of this shit falling apart, all of this shit going away tomorrow, all of these things happening. Do I even deserve this? Do I even belong here? You know what I'm saying? Should I have done that? Right? Really questioning yourself. There's also another storyline here. This is about someone who has sacrificed one's self. So you could have sacrificed yourself for family members or for children, doing something that you have not liked, something that doesn't resonate with who you are as a person. That's first house, right? It's sort of like betraying your own desires for the bottom line is how they are phrasing it. So this is a gateway to get you out of that situation, but it's still like Panic at the Disco is what I'm hearing, right? Like it's still a little bit of panic. There's still a little bit of fear because you don't necessarily know what you will be doing. And I feel like y'all are pressuring some of you. Do not start cursing me out in them comments. Somebody is pressuring the universe. Like, show me, tell me, come on. I want to know. I want to know. I want to see, please. Come on. Like what? And they're like, take a nap. And you're like, take a nap, bitch. Are you crazy? I can't take a nap. I need to figure this out. I need to do this. I need to, you know, come up with a plan. I need to make something shake. I need to do something quick. I need to go tell that motherfucker what it is. If they pass me up over a promotion, or somebody's getting a raise and I'm not. Somebody is getting, you know, the notoriety that I should be getting. If I'm doing my boss's job, shouldn't I have my boss's job? What the fuck? They're like, go to sleep. Like, take a break. You need to relax. It is in that form. It is in that time of rest where your brain is like, you feel like because you're resting or because you're doing something that is not helping the solution, that there's nothing going on in the background. That's not true. That's simply not true. Okay, so they're now giving me like a scenario. You know, when you're trying to think of something, like, let's say, for instance, you are having a conversation with your homegirl or your homeboy, and you're like talking about an artist or something. You're like, what's their name? Damn, what's their name? And the longer you try to think of it, the more it escapes you. I mean, it's running full speed ahead, fuck away from you. Right? Because the frequency is desperation, right? Like, I'm desperate to know. This is fucking pissing me off. Like, I can't know. Let's not talk about anything until I figure this out. It's really making me mad. It's at the tip of my tongue type shit. And then the second you're like, fuck it, let's talk about something else. Let's do something else. 3 hours later, 2 hours later, it's like, boom, you got it? Hello? Yeah, your brain was working while you seemingly weren't. So there's also a lot to be said about that energy. For some of you, you like, I'm not saying you're a control freak, but you feel like if I don't do it, then it won't get done right. And there's this sentiment that is creating a blockage. Let's be very clear. This message is about financial blocks that are seemingly holding you back, that you can't see. Okay, they're illusions, so to speak, but they're fucking there, because if you're resonating with with this message, then you have been experiencing slight stagnancy, or maybe the money is slowing down, or it's not coming in fast enough, or you're putting in more work than what you are being paid for, right? Like, it's just not adding up. The math is not mathing. That is because everything is not what it seems, right? There is shit going on in the background, and you might have your hand in too much of this. Too much of your hands in this, and for some of you, too many hands. Don't let that go over your head now. Okay, so we have ornaments. So here's the thing, right? Mature people do the right thing with their money. Mature people know what to do with their money. Mature people are adulting and their money is working for them. And if that is not happening right now, right, that's where the self-doubt could be coming in. If you consider yourself grown, or if you're comparing yourself to other people, how about your story is not their story? Your testimony will not be their testimony. In fact, you don't know what's going on in the background of people who look the most successful. You don't really know what's going on, because let's be very honest, this is a financial message, but is money everything? Fuck no. Money is not everything, guys, right? So you can have all the money in the world, but if that first house is not in check, That's when you figure out people are, you know, offing themselves. That's when you see that people are like depressed beyond measure. You know, it's about unpacking and creating balance in all areas. That is luxury, right? Okay, if we want to start using some of the buzzwords of today's time, right? Everybody wants to be living the luxurious life. Everybody wants to be living in the lap of luxury. Everybody wants luxury this, luxury that, right? Attaching that word to materialistic things is a recipe for disaster. I'm just saying that's my opinion. That doesn't mean that you cannot acquire nice things, right? If they actually make you feel good, but please don't try to attach your happiness to said thing, because that will never fucking work. This is why you do find people who like have to get the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing. It's like a black hole. The more you spend or the more you purchase, the more you acquire, the emptier you feel, because that is not the root. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's not be a fool. Like I said, money does matter. Money matters. Okay, you gotta fucking survive. You need money to live in this country anyway. Like, I live in the United States, right? Let me know where you live down below in the comments, like what country you're in, where you're tapping in from. I always get so fascinated for those of you who are somewhere different, right? All across the globe. It's just so inspiring, and it humbles me. Okay, I'm just like, wow, really? It's so cool. Okay, sorry. Or just send me a little hey girl hey down below in the message. Tell me what you're thinking of the message, what you're thinking of during this message thus far, and how it relates to you, if you want to share, because for some of you that silence is going to be golden. Okay, this figure has their eyes shut and their mouth shut, and I feel like if you can see the imagery on the card with the eye shut and the mouth shut, we then have like this space here. You see the third eye, but then right below the third eye, we have this opening. It looks like a zipper. And all of this is turning into like gold. That's a very alchemic energy. That's what I get from it. So again, money matters, yes. But that's just like a means to an end, if that makes sense, guys, okay? So you can't really attach your identity to making extra money. I'm also getting the phrase more money, more problems. That doesn't have to be true, but it will be if you attach the wrong meaning to whatever money or finances you are acquiring, whatever wealth you acquire. It's so much more. There's like a bigger picture here, okay? And I feel like I said, it's all encompassing, and spirit is really working behind the scenes. But if you have your hand too deep in that pot, and you're allowing other people to put their hand in the pot too, because you're trying to figure it out, and you think if you talk to somebody else about it, then they'll help you figure it out. And then they go outside of you and start telling your business to other people and say how you haven't figured it out. Nobody's really helping. They're just really nosy. Let's just be very honest. All of that energy is really what's slowing shit down. I have to be very honest with you. You want to know what the block is? That's the motherfucking block. If you're like, I'm not talking to anybody, I haven't been telling anybody, I haven't really been sharing my business and whatnot, then it is internally. But let's tap in a little bit more to that then, okay? Who is experiencing imposter syndrome? That's definitely a thing. There's this thing about the things that you were trying to manifest 5 years ago are here. But guess what? You like are on to the next thing. And spirit is like, but look what we did. Can we get thank you? They're not saying that you're not grateful or you're not showing gratitude, but it's like you're so heavily focused on more, getting more. And I understand that the times that we're living in now, that's like what they are promoting. But if you are spiritual, then you have to know that there are other forces that we can't see that are really in control, okay? Yeah. Neptune is also about magic. It's like the illusionary aspects of things, okay? The things that you can't see, right? The things that may often confuse other people. So I do feel like things are on their way to taking a major turn where, yes, there will be a monetary payout, of course, right? Like that, it's a financial message. If said blocks are put in check, right? I'm also feeling a great deal of frustration for someone here specifically. It's like you've been working on this thing, this business, this project. Other people, you may have studied other people who have done what you're doing. In your opinion, without being too egoistic or arrogant, you do feel like you're a cut above the rest, but yet the acknowledgement is not there. But just because it's not there, does it mean that it's not there? That's the question they pose to you. This is definitely, it's a complex reading, guys, okay? So I'm really interested to know who's resonating with this. Yeah, just because it's not there, does that mean it's not there? Like your dreams, your aspirations, you're spiritual because you're here with me. So in terms of spirituality, if something is not there, or seemingly, right, the illusion of the thing not being there doesn't mean that it's really not there. Or is it just not showing up in the 3D, right? Is it not materialized to everybody else's naked eye at this moment? So there's something about time there as well, like how soon it's happening or why it's not happening. But let's see here. Let's dig a little bit deeper. They're also putting a age stamp on this. Like, why do you feel like you're too old to do said thing or too young to do said thing? It's a lot of doubt. Let's just call it a thing, right? Like, it's just a lot of self-doubt here. So they're definitely wanting to address that because your doubts are clashing with what they're trying to do in the background. And then your doubts are also making you want to overdo it, overwork, overachieve, overgive, just more and more and more and more, thinking that that is the equivalent to the payout that you're looking for. And they're like, nah. You're muddying up the frequency. You're muddying up the energy. This is called the Good Tarot deck. So let's see what they have to say. 8 of Wands. Okay. This is in terms of the outside influences of your blocks, right? Like what's really slowing things down has something to do with either some fire signs or fire energy, which is about action. Somebody pushing you or somebody who is not pushing you. Something to that effect. 8 of Wands is about movement. It's about going for it. It's about sending that message. It's about getting messages and receiving messages. But if you will listen to everything that I said prior to pulling this card, then we shouldn't really be receiving advice from everybody, right? Because everybody is not where we are spiritually. That doesn't mean that they're lesser. That just means that they don't get it. That's it. They don't fucking get it. So if they don't have your same beliefs and they don't really get what it is that you're trying to do, like they can understand it in layman's terms, but they don't really get it, right? Like, can they help you? Can they? If they haven't helped themselves, then can they help you? If they're not trying to accomplish something as major as you are, or if they're not trying to accomplish something in the same arena, can they really help, right? That's not to say that there aren't those one-off instances where somebody has some great advice, even though they're nowhere near in your field and they have completely different morals and values and all that. That is the exception, not the rule. And with the 8 of Wands here, it's like a lot of people. You see what I'm saying? These can be very influential people in your life. Okay. So that's like family. That's like people that you trust, right? Like trusted confidants. But if we're really honest, the very first card out suggests an awakening. Awakening suggests transitions. Transitions suggest transformations. And transformations can happen in any area of your life. And if you're transforming, that is like the death card, right? So the death card is about endings, cycling around to new beginnings. It doesn't necessarily mean the thing has to end before the new beginning happens, but there's a transition that is there, right? So if you are shifting, if you are changing, if you are elevating in any way, shape, form, or fashion, then typically people who were aligned with the old you would fall off. That could be a little bit threatening to some people. So one prime example of that would be you've been doing whatever your family dynamic does, right? Like, let's say your parents are like, we want doctors, we want lawyers, we want you to go to school, we want you to do this, we want you to go to college, we want you to get them student loans, we want you to do this and this and this and this. Okay, we want our kids to have regular jobs, 9 to 5s, right? We don't do social media as work, okay? Or it could be friendships, right? Where y'all were on the same level seemingly, but you start to outgrow certain relationships. And it doesn't feel intentional that these people or these influences, it's not an intentional thing for them to want to talk down to you. It's the mindset, if you will, right? Like their heart could actually very much so care about you, love you, and I want the best for you, yes, but the best for you in terms of what they think is the best for you, not in terms of what you think is the best for you. Okay, so those two things could be very different. And there's also this energy of possibly sharing with people who don't think big for themselves. So those type of people would rain on your parade. Is that not what I said earlier? Yeah, they would. If it's something that they don't believe they can do themselves or have themselves or acquire themselves or a lifestyle that they don't feel like they could garner for themselves, then they will more than likely feel like nobody can have that. Internal influences, we have the patience. We have patience. Card 14. Interesting, right? 14 breaks down to a 5. What is 5 all about? Class. Does feel like a class, right? Like, what? They're going in on us today, y'all. I'm just saying, okay? 14 breaks down to a 5, and 5s are all about change. Okay, shifts and changes, movement, transitions, pivotal moments. And then we have that 7 of Wands. 7 of Wands is all about boundaries, right? And if that is to go with both internal and external energies, then I feel like the boundaries are not balanced in those outside influences as well as internally, right? It's like running amok. So Spirit is on the path to trying to help you get that under control, release these blocks, because there's very beautiful energy abreast, right? There are things that they want to bring in. There are things that they want to cultivate. Your story is not necessarily the story you told in your head. For some of you, there is a need to release this notion of what you think the extra money is coming from, because it's totally different. Like they know your life before you do. Right? It's already been written. Like it's all happening in divine order, divine timing, right? The universe is under control. Now, while you do have some semblance of control to where you can, manifest and your desires can shift and change, but the overall outline, okay, of the story, your story, they see it very clearly. And it might be a lot different than what you would have suspected, right? So if you have this idea that you're supposed to get rich off of this certain business, right? If you have an idea that you're supposed to garner financial wealth and security by way of a spouse or a partner, right? Like being able to come together with 2 people, then I would be great, right? Like that would bring in extra money. We would be able to build our wealth and invest. If you have this idea of where it's coming from, they're like, yeah, that's not really where it's coming from. We will show you. Okay, and we can make this easy or it could be hard, because the changes are going to happen either way it goes. Nothing that is for you will ever miss you. So these transitions, these shifts, this gateway will be there regardless. if you decide to just stay back with the outside influences or the people who are holding you back or the things that feel familiar and comfortable to you and just look at the gate, then that's on you, right? Like that would just be a timing thing. The longer you stay back, okay, and not move towards the things that they are actually trying to guide you to, that's where we get into tower mode, okay? That's where the tower energy starts to sprinkle, 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 right? Because with divine timing, like I said, what is for you will never miss you. So it will happen. They're trying to give you the opportunity to make these adjustments yourself, which could feel challenging. It could feel uncomfortable. It could feel frustrating, right? There might be a few little bumps in the road. Nobody is saying that it's going to be a smooth ride, but the payout is amazing, okay? Not just monetarily. This is them trying to help you acquire the quality of life it is that you want. Okay, and now they're tapping back into that term luxury. Like one of the biggest luxuries is time. Okay, so they're giving me like a visualization of like making money while you sleep, passive income, shit like that, freeing up your time, freeing up your mental space. Not necessarily, it's not that you didn't have to work for it. It's just that this idea, whenever it comes, whatever it shows up, whatever this business is, whatever this path forward is, it will be more than enough. And it will allow you to work and balance out. Balance is really what they're stressing here, okay? Justice card. I have to go pull this. Is at the bottom of the deck, so that makes sense, right? Balancing things out. Balancing all areas of life. Having money and not having a sense of peace internally is still like being poor, you know? Okay? It's still like actually not having it. Okay? You're like, well, how can I be happy if I can't even, you know, I can't focus on happiness if I'm worried about how I'm going to pay this bill. Okay. How I'm going to sustain this. The overhead is all, they're like, okay, yeah, but that thing, right? Not just patience, but that thing called faith, right? Like if you really believe in us, if you really believe in the divine, if you really believe in divine order, all of your steps being ordered, if you believe in that, whilst also believing in your talents and capabilities and desires and wishes, believing that those things are, you're deserving of them, then we need to like release a little bit of the control, okay? So I feel like they're almost begging, you know, to be able to come in. They're willing to compromise. You're like, you want me to rest? That completely contradicts my goal. Like, I need to figure this out. They're like, yeah, we're going to help you though. So is it hard to accept help, right? That might be something that really speaks to you. Hard to ask for help. Hard to relinquish control or to put something important that would affect you in somebody else's hands, bitch, because you've been let down a lot, because you haven't really been able to rely on people. When you've relied on people before in the past, it ended up fucking you up. Like you ended up having to clean up the mess anyway, or it ended up putting you in a worse of positioning. So that's something else underlining. You see what I'm saying? So it's a very layered, and they're calling it complex blockage. But they are willing to help, okay? So that's why we are here. So if you have resonated with this message, we're hopping over to the extended, okay? In the extended, we're going to look at the best and fastest ways to clear all of these blockages, okay? According to the divine, like how do you do this, okay? We're going to get in depth with that to be sure that we're all doing that correctly. Let's see what opportunities are coming your way to help assist with this movement forward, this growth and movement, okay? I also want to see what other places might your financial abundance and financial freedom be, okay? So that would be alternative businesses, jobs, and or careers, additional ideas to bring in additional revenue, right? Multiple streams of income, that sort of thing. Where could that possibly lie? Like what could you possibly not be seeing? Let's see what time frames will you finally see this movement and growth if all of these blocks are addressed, and then we'll get some additional advice in order to speed up the momentum towards your goals, right? Like where you're trying to go. Just want it done. Let's look at some advice in reference to how to get that under control. And then I wasn't going to do this, but we'll throw in an Ask the Universe reading, okay? So I'll give you the floor to ask a couple questions. But I have more instructions for that over in the extended, okay? So without further ado, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and the notification bell. And I'm going to put the link for the extended reading down below in the description box. I'm going to see y'all over there. Let's go.